Today we're going to be making pom-poms, which some might say is not an art, but that's fine. The plan is I will teach you 3 ways of making pom-poms today, so hopefully you will have at least some of the equipment or the stuff that you need. And then for the rest of the week, everything we do is going to be based around pom-poms, because who doesn't love a pom-pom, if I'm honest, okay? So the first method is probably the easiest, and that's fork. So all I have done is I have taken a fork and I have wrapped my wool around my fork. Okay, put you down. I'm now going to take a length of wool, doesn't have to be that long, that one will do. And I'm just going to pop it through the prongs of the fork at the top here and tie it off. Oh, I've lost a bit. Around the middle. So I've gone through the middle prong. I've got 4 prongs on my fork. Can you see that? Ooh, sliding around here. Oh, and then I'm going to tie that off. So quite firmly, because you don't want your bits falling out your pom-pom. So just a double knot, and then I like to go round again just to make sure. So I'll put this one back through. You don't have to do this, but I just like to make sure, because sometimes they can come a bit undone, can't they? And this one comes back round here. Oh look, it's starting to fray. And then again just tie it in a double knot to hold it still. And then at this point you can slide it off your fork and you're going to snip all round here. So I've got a little pair of smaller scissors here. Okay. And these make just diddy pom-poms, but they're quite good fun to make. And that's that side, and then turn it over and snip the other side as well. And then you give them a little bit of a fluff. And you can then tidy up those extra long ones, because you've always got, it's a bit like when your mum used to do your fringe when you were little, and there's always one long bit. But just be careful, because like your fringe when you were little, there's a good chance if you cut too much off you're going to end up with a wonky fringe, which then gets shorter and shorter and disappears into no fringe at all. And if your mum didn't do that, you've not lived as far as I'm concerned. Right, okay, so that's your little one. Second method is a more traditional method. So I've taken 2 pieces of card. Now what you used to do is you used to cut 2 discs and then put a hole in and then wrap it. But I remember as a child spending hours trying to shove the bits of wool through the hole in the middle, and it was a bit of a nightmare. So what I've done instead is I've done something very similar. I cut a circle, out the middle, and then I've cut a chunk out. So almost taken a slice out the pie. And then I folded my edges of my pieces of card over, and that will stop my wool from sliding off. And then you just wind. That done, you're going to slide your scissors. Now, I would say have your piece of wool ready, because this is where I struggle, is it all starts to slide off if you're not careful. So you're going to slide your scissors between your 2 pieces of card and cut all the way around. Being really careful, because it will start to fall apart. Ooh. I never got on with this method, if I'm honest. I'm 43 years old and I'm still not getting on with this method, if I'm honest. Right, so at this point, while you're in this precarious position, you now slide your piece of wool between your 2 pieces of card. Now, if you are a young person, you can have a go at this, but you may want to get an adult to help you, because it gets very fiddly and very frustrating if you then drop it all. Now, so I've got my wool between my bit of card. Now, if I'm lucky, as I tie this knot, yes, it will tighten it up into a pom-pom. Again, you're going for a double knot, and you should be able to very carefully wiggle those off, so you can still reuse those. These are reusable, and you've got your pom-pom. How exciting. The third method I prefer, but if you don't have the bits in the house, then you can't do it, and it's these. Now these are proper PomPom makers. Yes, somebody has designed a PomPom maker. This is a PomPom maker. So it comes apart almost. It comes with two gates. So you do one side at a time. So the idea is you open those gates there, you get your wool, and you start to wrap your wool around your two halves. Okay, let's pretend I've done a whole half there and I've made it quite chunky. You then close those gates, turn it over, open the other gates, and do the same on there until you end up, haha, Blue Peter style, with one of these. Okay, now those gates are going to hold your wool in place. So you're now going to carefully snip around your bits of wool, but they won't ping off like they did with your bits of card because it's being held in place. It's great. Now, same as you did with your piece of card, take your piece of wool, pop it around the middle and tie it in a double knot. Okay, now when you do this, I like to leave this bit long because for some of the projects we're going to be tying a couple of them together, so just leave that one long, don't trim it off straight away. Now with this one, you open your gates, you pull it apart gently, 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 and you have a pom-pom. Okay, and then when you want to use them again, you just literally clip them back together like so, and they are good to go again. And they come in all sorts of different sizes. I've got one that's about this size that makes giant pom-poms, and I've got one that's about this size that makes mini pom-poms that are probably about the same size as your fork one. So 3 different methods of pom-pom making. You've got your fork, your bits of card like that folded up at the end, and your pom-pom maker. If you've got any of these at home, or dig them out ready for tomorrow, and as much wool as you can get. If you've got old jumpers, please check with the owner that it is an old jumper that's knitted. There's no reason why you can't use the wool from that. One of the things we're going to be making this week is bumblebees, so you're going to need yellow and black if you've got it, but if not, there's no reason why you can't make a slightly radically coloured bumblebee. So, rest of the week, pom-poms, I'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.